Missile Defense Command, Command Sergeant Major Kelly Hart, and Brigadier General Patrick Costello. Sir.
All right, can everybody hear me? All right. Hey, Russell, thanks for that. I think you built it up to a little bit more than what it is, especially in the coveted after lunchtime. But very quickly, thanks to AUSA for putting together this symposium and exposition this year, bringing together industry, international partners, media, and service members together to talk about some very important topics. I'm privileged to have my battle buddy, Kelly Hart, up here with me today to speak on behalf of the tremendous team at 94th AAMDC that we get to serve with. First, before we get started, I want to roll a quick video that we put together that shows some of the hard work that our soldiers across the AOR have done over the last year.
Another milestone in North Korea's missile development.
South Korean and Japanese officials say the intercontinental ballistic missile was fired almost vertically Thursday. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said it shows, quote, our will to respond to our enemies.
Reports suggest Pyongyang has been significantly increasing its support for Moscow.
Wave after wave of attacks hitting every part of the grid, including substations and major power plants. The Ukrainian defense has performed well, but this attack shows signs the Russian assaults are getting ever more sophisticated.
China has test-fired an intercontinental ballistic missile into the Pacific Ocean.
Now, this is Beijing's first such test in over 40 years.
China's Navy conducted exercises in international waters near Australia and New Zealand. 3 PLA vessels.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
The challenges facing democratic nations are not only persisting, but escalating. Russia's ongoing military actions in Ukraine, the People's Republic of China's assertive moves against the security and prosperity of our allies and partners through expansive territorial claims in the South China Sea, and North Korea's continued ballistic missile tests in defiance of UN resolutions, all threaten stability and peace. Amid increasing geopolitical tension, the role of defending not just the homeland, but also the interests and safety of our allies and partners becomes more critical than ever. Air defenders of the 94th Army Air and Missile Defense Command are at the forefront of these efforts, leading ground-based air and missile defense operations across the Indo-Pacific theater. We play a crucial role in seamlessly integrating our Army air defense capabilities with those of our joint and multinational partners, creating a unified and powerful defense posture. The 94th Army Air and Missile Defense Command stands as a vital protector of U.S. and allied forces from aerial and missile threats across the Indo-Pacific region. Headquartered in Hawaii, the command extends its reach by strategically synchronizing efforts across Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington State and in Guam, Japan, and Korea.
We will be prosperous, we will be proud, we will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered, we will not be intimidated, we will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely, we will live proudly, we will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
With a commitment to technological superiority and operational readiness, the command focuses on safeguarding U.S. and allied interests. These efforts are crucial for bolstering a free and open Indo-Pacific.
All right, whoa, all right. New microphone, new voice. So, listen, I'm not going to take too much time talking at you this morning or this afternoon, but Sergeant Major and I just want to kind of highlight a couple messages and then leave some time for questions and answers and some discussion on the back end. But we want to give you a glimpse of the transformational changes that we are laying the groundwork for as we look towards a robust and ever-changing threat in an uncertain world. I'm going to talk about three main things today, all under the guise of transformation of the air defense branch and community, which is a strategic imperative as we look at maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific. Talk a little bit about composite air and missile defense battalions, how they increase optionality, enhance effectiveness and lethality. Talk about the importance of multilateral experiments, exercises, and engagements to increase our operational readiness. And third, I'll talk a little bit about the Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command System and the vital role that it plays in integrating with both the Joint Force and allies and partners. First, though, Communist China's rapid expansion of its missile arsenal and anti-access and area denial capabilities threatens both the free and open Indo-Pacific and, during conflict, free maneuver of the Joint Force. And robust integrated air missile defense is essential to counter these threats. Last year, I talked about there being no sanctuary anywhere in the Pacific from Communist China. That remains true. Their ability to mass a number of different threats and hold a lot of assets across the Pacific at risk. The PRC has offensive capabilities unlike anything that we've seen in CENTCOM over the past 25 years and anything that we continue to see in Europe right now. It demands us to think differently, innovate, and develop solutions faster to counter these threats. We have to be able to fight this first, reliant on joint architectures and alongside our allies and partners. Posture during campaigning prior to conflict is absolutely imperative. Transportation in a contested environment will be a challenge, even more so than the vast breadth of the Indo-Pacific AOR. We have to be postured at the right time and at the right location, west of the international date line, during campaigning to create positional advantage, ensure that conditions are set, ensuring that the Joint Force retains the agility to generate and mass combat power at the right time and place. Lastly, capacity will continue to be a challenge for AMD forces in the Indo-Pacific region. We see that right now as a battalion of forces made up of soldiers out of both Korea and Japan are in CENTCOM, meeting our nation's needs over there. But operating in an AOR encompassing a third of the globe, geographically dispersed, numerous critical assets presents a strain on the force to effectively defend U.S. PACOM Commander's priority assets. But integrated air missile defense remains an inherently joint and combined effort, and working together with the Joint Force, our partners and allies, is absolutely critical to both Indo-PACOM success and what the Army is doing to transform. So first, the development and employment of air and missile defense composite battalions to employ a layered defense strategy with sensors, interceptors, and command systems to manage threats across flight phases, integrating diverse assets into a cohesive force for an enhanced effectiveness and lethality is absolutely crucial. As part of the Army Transformation Initiative, the Guam Defense System showcases this composite strategy in one of the most decisive locations in this theater. Guam is homeland defense and is one of the most important combat power projection hubs that we have within the Pacific. If deterrence should fail, the theater Army requires capabilities, posture, signaling, and will, and this composite battalion that is for the Army for the defense of Guam meets those requirements. Most recently in Guam, we've seen that this year we will see the rapid deployment of 2 lower-tier air and missile defense system, LTAMs, radars, and engagement operations centers from IBCS as part of the Chief of Staff of the Army Transformation Initiative. In December, the Missile Defense Agency successfully tested an SM-3 off of Mark 41 vertical launch system with AN-TIPI-6 against a medium-range ballistic missile headed towards Guam. The deployment and employment of Army long-range passive sensors on ALPS on Guam is a combat multiplier. And then finally, Operation Slingstone that took place during the MDA flight test that I just mentioned that allowed us to kludge together the command and control systems across the joint force to demonstrate our capability jointly to merge sensors, effectors, and effectively communicate with both the civilian population, the governor of Guam, the Federal Aviation Administration, and within the military to effectively combat any threats headed towards the second island chain. This rehearsal for the defense of those critical assets highlights some of the other things that I'll talk about later, because we had tremendous participation from both Japan and Australia during that event. The 94th AAMDC continues to exercise multilateral engagements, experiments within the Indo-PACOM exercise program to boost air defense units' interoperability and innovation through joint training and exposure to innovating tactics, enhancing real-world operational readiness. Indo-PACOM's integrated air and missile defense vision emphasizes seamless integration with partners and allies, moving on bilateral defense plans to a regional, interoperable architecture that enhances collective security and deterrence. And to that end, the 94th AAMDC annually hosts Missile Pack, a joint force flagship annual air and missile defense event in the Indo-Pacific that we do the first week in December. And last year, we brought together 12 partner countries and allies to participate in that. That included civilian policymakers from all of those countries, joint senior leaders from across the U.S. Department of Defense, and other countries and allies. It's events like this that shows the recognition across this area that there is no sanctuary from these PRC threats. The last thing I'll talk about this afternoon is the Integrated Air Missile Defense Battle Command System, which is enabling the Army's transformation initiative by enhancing the scalability and adaptability of air and missile defense operations, allowing commanders to tailor their defensive posture to meet specific mission requirements and operational objectives. Tailoring forces for specific threats is going to be essential in any fight in the Pacific, as we will face an unfathomable magazine depth from the PRC and potentially the DPRK, and allow us to plug into any joint architecture that exists, which will enable more lethality across the joint force. The geographic demands here are daunting, and ensuring that we have forces postured, ready, communicating, and sustained is going to remain an immense challenge. As part of the Army Transformation Initiative, IBCS connects sensors and effectors, never designed to work together into one command and control system, giving warfighters expanded view of the battle space to act quickly and decisively. We just had the two multi-domain task force commanders up here. As they field IBCS capabilities within their formation, the options that they're going to have as commanders for both offensive and defensive operations is going to be immense. Survivability and dispersion of missile defense systems is critical. The Guam Defense System was conceptualized with dispersed operations as a central aspect. IBCS is going to enable the ability to deploy capability more effectively, as well as extend the defense capability to more critical assets that support the joint forces distribution of command and control throughout the first and second island chains. And lastly, while we have not yet reaped the benefits of this transformation, it's starting now. I talked about the delivery of 2 LTAMDS radars to Guam this summer, delivering 2 indirect fire protection capability launchers to the peninsula for the Republic of Korea, 8th Army and 35th Air Defense Artillery Brigade this summer. The delivery last year of the Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command System in Guam. So these are no longer PowerPoint chart concepts that we're kind of talking about. We're employing these capabilities this year. But it's starting now and fundamentally changing the long-standing paradigms of legacy air and missile defense organizations and their employment. And with that, I want to say thank you and ask my battle buddy, Command Sergeant Major Kelly Hart, to come up here and talk about some of the ways that he envisions the impacts of transformation across the force. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So as mentioned, I am Command Sergeant Major Kelly Hart of the 94th Army Air and Missile Defense Command. All you High State Buckeye fans should get that reference. Air and missile defense composite battalions are essential components in transforming air defense strategies. Bringing together once disparate and stovepipe capabilities, all with the same ends, will enable us to be better postured against the PRC to maximize the effectiveness and lethality of a limited supply of capability. The Guam Defense System is going to be the first foray for the branch, and from which we will draw lessons that will implement globally across the integrated air and missile defense strategy. AMD composite battalions are spearheading the Army Transformation Initiative, like the boss said, and that will be done by utilizing a layered approach to defense, leveraging a combination of sensors, interceptors, command and control systems to detect, track, and neutralize various types of threats in different phases of flights. Unlike traditional single component units, AMD composite battalions are uniquely structured to integrate multiple assets and capabilities into a unified system of systems for both the joint and allied force, which maximizes their effectiveness in countering a world range wide of threats. Through this, we will use multilateral experiments, and that'll be our campaign of learning that is going to enable us the future fight. We will continue to experiment west of the international date line. Multilateral experiments, exercises, symposiums provide an enormous benefit to operating across a large network of our allies and partners. By engaging in these joint exercises and combined training activities, air defense units will enhance their capability, interoperability, and coordination, which lays the groundwork for seamless coordination during real-world event operations. The combined and joint force must organize to meet the operational demand, generate ready land power, apply that land power on key terrain, build joint interior lines to achieve integrated deterrence, assure our allies and our partners, and deny the PRC their long-term objectives. Our Army's strength not solely is based on technology or equipment, but primarily on the individuals who operate and maintain that equipment. When soldiers, partners, and allies work together as a team, our collective strength and cooperation significantly enhance the Army's operational capabilities. Together, we will not lose. IBCS will fundamentally transform how we operationalize and employ air and missile defense combat power in the future by enhancing the scalability and adaptability of Army air and missile defense operations. We will be able to tailor packages to specific threats, which will be critical to any fight across the Pacific. The fusion between existing joint systems and future developmental programs of IBCS increases overall effectiveness, dramatically enhancing the ability to track, identify, engage, and defeat against enemy diverse threats. These capabilities, like I said, will not only help transform the Army AMD capabilities, but also enhance the capabilities of our allies across the globe once they modernize to the new IBCS architecture. So with that, in closing, as we continue to transform and innovate in the face of evolving threats, I want to assure everyone that our commitment to safeguarding the skies remain ironclad. We stand ready to uphold peace and security across the Indo-Pacific, none of which could be possible without the support of the joint force, committed partners and allies, and our industry partners. So thank you, and at this time I'll have the boss come up and we'll take some questions.
All right, any questions? Stay behind the speaker, sir. Right here.
Hey, thanks. I get so emotional when I hear you guys speak. Real quickly, in terms of logistics consumption, particularly across the range of armaments, what are you guys thinking about additive manufacturing, 3D printing, sort of resupply of all the air defense based on consumption of the materials? Thank you.
Okay, I'm back on. Logistics keeps me up at night, especially in this AOR. It's challenging enough already. But that's why when I talked about positional advantage, talking beyond the hardware and the soldiers, but the tail that goes with that, because we are not small, right? To move a minimum engagement package right now of Patriot capability with just 2 launchers, limited capacity, 7 C-17s without Class 5, right? We can single-handedly break Transcom's ability without forward stationing west of the IDL to outfit the rest of the joint force in conflict. And so we spend a lot of time, we're exploring a lot of different avenues beyond pre-positioning. The sustainment of spare parts beyond Class 5 is also a significant challenge that we're trying to overcome. Thank you.
Thank you. David Easton from the British Army. I'm just thinking about the scale of the geography and the number of different allies you're talking about, the scale of the threat. How do you enable authority for decision making, and how do you ensure airspace management? How does this plug into the wider airspace management to prevent sort of blue on blue?
All right, I'm back on. There's a 5-second delay apparently when I turn this thing back on. Great question. And we have dedicated really the last 18 months that I've been in command working on distributed C2. In a contested environment, having centralized C2 is not going to work. We need to be able to make decisions about threats that are traveling very fast, right, at tactically relevant timelines. The Air Force controls all of our authorities, right, which is hard to fathom for somebody that's been in the Army for so long. Even when I talk to Army senior leaders, you know, we are under the command of the Army, but under the tactical control of the Air Force. And so the PACAF commander in his role as the Area Air Defense Commander, and I serve as his deputy in that role that he has, owns a lot of the authorities for decisions, specifically against cruise missiles, fixed-wing aircraft, rotary wing aircraft. And so we're working very hard. IBCS, what the Air Force has been doing with their TOC Light initiative, what the Marine Corps has been doing with their C2 initiatives, and what the Navy already has with CEC, the Cooperative Engagement Capability, allows us to get the same level of situational awareness to be able to manage airspace at the tactical level anywhere. 10 years ago, that was confined at the AOC level, centrally located and worked out fine. But managing a fight that could be spread out across a number of different countries in this AOR simultaneously, having a single point of failure beyond comms in a degraded environment and everything is not going to work. And so we've been working very hard with Pacific Air Forces on establishing regional air defense commanders to enable the authorities to be held at the tactical level so that we can make decisions at relevant timelines. Hope that helps, sir.
Any more questions?
All right. We answered all the questions ahead of time, so that's good. Thank you very much.